Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex, I'm just going to be real with you, big dog. Mm-hmm. You know what I don't have right now?
A cold open.
A cold open. So here's what I'll do for the cold open.
Mm-hmm.
You and I used to curate a certain auditory vibe on the podcast by, between segments, say, perhaps choosing what you might call recorded music by artists that we liked.
Mm-hmm.
To sort of buffer those segments a bit. That is something that you and I used to do in a previous era and don't do anymore, for example. We used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And because we used to do that, I would say most likely an AI software has identified that. And if you're a keen
pull that curtain back, brother.
completionist of the Tipping Pitches podcast, you might notice that there was like 150 episodes missing for a hot second there, and even still at time of recording there's still like 70 missing because they got taken down. I'm just gonna be super real with you. They got taken down. My lawyer told me not to do this cold open, but I'm going with it anyway. Well, because of that, I went back and I've been taking music out of old episodes. Sorry, I've been taking auditory experiences out of old episodes, or whatever I called it. And reposting them. So I assume some people have been getting, like I have, like notifications, like new episode of Tipping Pitches from like 2018 or whatever. And in doing so, I remembered something that I think we should bring back, which is that sometimes you used to do the cold open, bro. Like I would do it most of the time, but then every once in a while you'd be like, I got something today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or I would be like, do you have something for today? And then you would think of something.
Mm-hmm.
But we've just given up on that.
We have.
Why? Mr. Policeman, I gave you all the opportunities to do the cold open.
It's a great question, honestly. And the answer is that...
That's when I'm going to be fucked by an answer, is that when someone says, it's a great question, honestly.
Honestly. And the answer is that it's hard to think of a cold open. And when you get in here and you go, like, I got something for the cold open, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, weight lifted off your shoulders.
Oh,
I'm like your guardian angel coming, like the military man standing
right,
in front of you, taking all of the arrows.
Although I don't always know, right? Because sometimes it's like you have a little story, a little anecdote, and then like other times you're like, hey, I have a question that feels like an extension of the therapy you just got finished with. And I'm like, whoa.
Bro, male friendship needs to cut deeper.
It's true. It's true.
We need to break down some of these walls. That's what we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is good. This is a pro therapy podcast.
And guess what? There actually is a tie-in to what we are talking about right now, to what is coming later on this episode.
To showing emotion, you mean?
Yeah, to showing emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you are going to hear on this here episode, because we'll keep pulling the curtain back for you, dear listener. At this point, was there ever a curtain? Is a question that I have for myself and for you, and it's rhetorical because it's a podcast. What you're going to hear later this episode is a snippet from 3 Up, 3 Down, which ran on our Patreon last week with Hannah Kaiser. Hannah has been generous enough with her time multiple times to come on and do the full 3 Up, 3 Down with us. And last time she did it, she was filling in for you, and we ended up running it on the public feed. And this time, it was for our first 3 Up, 3 Down Patreon episode of the season. If you are a new listener, 3 Up, 3 Down is a segment that we have been doing for years now. It's 3 things that bring us joy in the baseball world, 3 things that take our joy away. We each give 3. Usually that's a total of 6. In this case, it was usually that's a total of 12. In this case, it was a total of 18.
Mm-hmm. And boy, did it sound like it.
Yeah, it went. Great episode.
Great episode.
Hannah's just a wonderful guest every time she joins us here on this podcast. you're going to hear a selection from the ups because the downs were down. And in those downs, I talked about Roki Sasaki and his crying and the response to it. But if you want to hear that, that's over on patreon.com/tippingpitches. So we're going to do that for the middle section of this podcast, or for the first half of this podcast. In the second half, we have a wonderful interview with Frankie Impostado of the band Maxiel. Now you might be saying to yourself, these guys found another way to talk to a musician that they admire and make it tie into baseball. Man, I didn't think that they would slip out of this one, but they did. Frankie is a huge Mets fan and has just a number of very funny and relatable baseball stories around her Mets fandom. And we asked her to weigh in on the long-running question of why the emo music scene has so much crossover with the baseball world. Frankie had a really interesting answer to that. If anything happened in the baseball world in the last 5 days and it's not discussed on this podcast, I'm sorry. I'm out of town. I'm in London at time of airing. And so that's why we are rolling with 2 pre-taped interviews, both of which I think you will be enriched by as a listener of the podcast. Do you agree, Alex?
I agree wholeheartedly. And honestly, I think we should keep this going as long as possible. We've done an amazing job not talking about anything that's happened in the season so far.
That's not true.
And it feels par for the course. What do you mean?
I talked about how the Red Sox are cool. And I'm taking a shellacking online for it. Have you seen this?
No.
This is mostly just Steve tweeted at us. And he was like, what the fuck, dude?
Damn, making enemy. Well, this is why we had to get a new representative from the emo scene in here. Because our old friends are spurning us right now.
If you are currently in an emo band that Alex and I listen to, and you are in line to appear on the Tipping Pitches podcast, stay in line.
Stay in line.
The line is still open for you. All right. So one more time for the fine folks at home, because I think that this was a really scatterbrained cold open, because we've been recording for the last 2 hours and it's 9:30 p.m. and I have to be on a flight in 24 hours. We're going to run a snippet from 3 Up, 3 Down from our most recent Patreon episode, which you can find the full one at patreon.com/tippingpitches with Hannah Kaiser. And then we will transition to our full conversation with Frankie Impostado of Maxiel. Before we get to that, I am Bobby Wagner.
I am Alex Paisley.
And you, thank you, dear listener at home. You're listening, for some reason, to the Tipping Pitches podcast. All right, my next down has been the discourse over Roki Sasaki showing emotion in the dugout. We are already like well over an hour, so I don't need to go on to my own like tirade about emotions and masculinity. But I will just say, for the listeners of Tipping Pitches, I don't think it will come as a surprise to people to find out that I was an emotional child. And I got emotional after good and bad things happened to me.
Some say you're an emotional adult.
Some say
that's a good thing.
Emotional baby boy, emotional man, I think is the lyric from the Front Bottom song. I just think it sucks so bad that like American culture is so centered around emotions being embarrassing. Like, even if it is something to discuss about why he is disappointed, it's okay that it's disappointment. The notion that he shouldn't show it sucks. That sucks. And like watching that happen in real time now, knowing everything we know about particularly America's mental health crisis, is just such bullshit. And it's like, I don't understand why people go so far out of their way to criminalize and demonize other people's emotions when they are happening like earnestly. Like, it's not like he wants to be out there crying on live television. So why are you dunking on him again for it? It really actually makes me genuinely mad. Like, I have to disengage from it when I see people speaking about this, because I'm just like emotions are the only thing that like keep us, human. I feel like we don't want Roki Sasaki to become like an emotionless robot. I mean, we find it like a quirk of modern sports that like some people are emotionless robots and are able to just like deliver and perform no matter what. But if every single player was like that, dare I say that it wouldn't even be worth watching, because we're not like that as fans either. So it genuinely makes me sick.
Oh, good. You said that so well and so thoroughly that we can leave it at that.
Right,
That was
yes,
really well. That was really well put. No, that was incredibly well put. I somehow like missed that discourse in real time and then heard about it after the fact on a different podcast, and I was sort of like, "What? I don't."
Yeah.
It feels like a fake discourse. Like it feels so like
I know.
It feels so like intentionally good side and bad side.
Right, like they would put it in like an end of year like workplace training,
right?
Like, to
exactly.
show,
Like,
like,
should
what
you tease a guy if he's sad? And it's
Yeah,
like,
right,
there's such
exactly.
an obvious answer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Oh. I don't know what to say. I came unprepared. I did make notes about the good things, like I said. I am not enjoying the Phillies being bad. That's we need to move on. So I'm just going to say that. I really
great.
thought I was really like, this is going to be so fun. It's going to be a 3-way race in the NL East.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually have any idea what the standings currently are. It's not worth checking them yet.
Yeah, it's still very early. All I know is the Braves are in last, and that feels pretty damn good for right now.
That's
do you
true.
want to kick us off with an up then?
Sure. No, but I just want to. I think I talked about this last time I was here, which is like watching baseball with my family when I go home to Philly.
Yeah.
Did I really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do it again. They are so down on the Phillies, and I am kind of like, you know what? You got some points this time. And that is like, we talk about all this high-minded stuff, and like what is genuinely not bringing me joy about watching baseball is when I'm watching baseball with the Phillies with my family, and they're like, "These are the worst players," and then I look it up, and I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, you're right."
Right. It's because like all the doomerism like usually is not justified, but then when it is, that justifies the future ones that shouldn't be justified.
Right.
Like,
That's
well, I
exactly
turned
right.
out to be right about Trey Turner. Like we shouldn't
That's
have
what I
given him
mean.
300 million. Yeah.
Like I'm kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. So that like in a very real, not just like I want the Phillies to win sense, but in like in my experience of watching baseball is hampered by the Phillies being so bad, because then my dad is correct for being like, you shouldn't even get to be here. Whatever. I'm like, it's like a bummer of a way to watch the sport.
That's exactly why we designed this segment, honestly.
Can we put on a different game then, if that's going to be how you feel? There's like 14 others happening. Okay. We're going to stick with like extremely baseball. You know what is making me happy? Andrew McCutchen is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. He is.
There are 5 dudes who have taken like at least 5 plate appearances. I think it was, is that metric? Who are 38 or older. And Andrew McCutchen is like the only one who is above average. And that's fantastic. His talk about percentiles, 95th percentile for hard hit rate right now. 95th percentile for average exit. That doesn't even make any sense.
It actually doesn't.
It doesn't seem correct, but I did take a screen grab of his Statcast page. Andrew, I really enjoy Andrew McCutchen as both like a person to talk to. He's like a fun source. I talked to him for the Paul Skeens story that I did at the Ringer, and he had some pretty fire quotes about wanting the team to try a little harder. Which my husband, when I told him about them, was like, those can't be real. And I was like, Andrew McCutchen doesn't care. Andrew McCutchen's like, replace me with somebody better. That would be fantastic for this city and this team. He's like, I bet you won't. I bet you won't find somebody making more than me to hit in my spot. And he's correct about that. But like also just I like, this is like an almost like obvious thing to say, but it's like, I like when there's like, when people talk about like, is it good for Juan Soto to have played on 4 different teams and make 700 plus million? Or is it good for guys to be career one-team players and like take a hometown discount to stay with their hometown teams? And I'm like, they're both good. What I want is a variety of like baseball specific but personal narratives. I find that like yeah, that's what I want. I want guys to manifest their unique souls through how they navigate their baseball career. That's like what that seems like best possible scenario. And Andrew McCutchen is such a unique and specific example of that, of someone who's just like, I don't know, I just liked Pittsburgh. Like, I'm not from Pittsburgh originally, but I ended up there and I thought, I love it here. And now I bought a house and my wife is from here. And now I want to like come back here because that's where I feel the most comfortable. And I like that, to me, love that. That's like we don't have nearly enough of that, of guy who's not playing for his hometown team. It's not like, this is the team I grew up rooting for, and so like I want to stay here forever. And it's also not like I'm gonna go wherever the money is or whatever. Like it's just something else. It's something else entirely. It's a guy who, I don't know. They have like a really good Andy Warhol museum. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Right. And all the furries.
I was just gonna say. Now we get one annual furries tweet every year. All right, Alex, what's your first up?
My first up is something that I suppose, depending on how you feel about it, could be in your down, but I just think it's really funny. And that's that every time MLB
you were like, don't get too happy here, everybody.
You're right. No. It's not even a downer. It's just every time MLB tweets out like a Shohei Ohtani highlight or anything regarding Shohei Ohtani, the mentions and the quote tweets are just, wow, like, get off your knees, MLB, like, post Brent Rooker home run or whatever. Like, and it's really funny because, like, when you click into their profile, which I do pretty much every time I see these tweets, it's like sandwiched between like a Ben Rice home run that has like 17 retweets, and like a James Wood home run, which has like 30 retweets or whatever. And I'm like, they're just doing this for all the players. I know that Shohei Ohtani gets attention because he's Shohei Ohtani, but also like, yes, he's Shohei Ohtani. Like, they're going to tweet about him, and that is the tweet that's going to go viral. So that is the tweet that you're going to see, and that's the rule of thumb that you're going to use whenever. Like, do they overdo it sometimes? Like, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny when they tweeted out the like Shohei Ohtani tie ball game when he hits like a game time
2-run home run in
like
the
third inning or whatever in all caps. So it's like, and then like
Ohtani
the
ties the game.
admin was like in the replies or whatever. But I'm just like, this is so funny to me. Like, you see what you want to see, I guess.
I'm still stuck on your conspiracy theory that like maybe they are paying bot farms to say that in the comments to get people like you, intellectually curious young gentlemen, to click to the MLB page and see whether or not they are actually posting him too much.
This is yes. I have encountered this in real life. The like fan who thinks MLB talks about Shohei Ohtani exclusively and too much, and it's like such a strange, because it's like someone has to be the most, and he's consistently validating that. And the fact that the tweets get the engagement, like it's like a tautological problem where people are like, you post about this guy because he's famous, and he's famous because he's good, and so he's doing a lot of things that are worth posting about because he's good, which is what has made him famous. Like, it's such a, like, whenever people are like, the people want to go see the Dodgers because they have Shohei Ohtani, and it's like, yes, that's just
part of the thing.
That's just, you're just explaining sports fandom, which is like people who are exceptionally good at this skill we've chosen to prize get famous, and then people want to see them because they are abnormally good at it.
Exactly.
That's what this whole enterprise is about.
Exactly.
It's like perfectly explained by the Dumois meme, like a likely thing for you to do, a likely place for him to be.
Right.
Like, a likely thing for you to do. Tweet a highlight of the best player doing something interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
well,
that's my first up. Yeah.
My first up, I already spoiled it at the very beginning, so we can move past it. It's that I get to read you guys more regularly now, every single day in my inbox. It's the bandwagon. I get to read Hannah and Zach. I loved your phrasing of bits and bobs. I'm going to start using that in my day to day. I'm like, hey, that's my name. That's trademark that.
I really was just like, it was like 6 a.m. The baby was up, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't put a subhead on this one.
Oh, I know. Whenever I like get to the end of editing an episode, I'm like, oh, fuck, now I have to write the description.
Yeah.
Like, the title is one thing. It's like, I can think of some,
right,
meme or some, witty little joke or whatever. But the description is just like, man, I have to remember what we talked about in this episode that I just recorded and edited. So I've heard twice now, and also I came up with it. That's just a bridge too far. Okay, Hannah, you're second up.
Okay. Oh, am I already on my second? Oh my gosh. Okay. This was not even one of the ones on the list, but you talking about Shohei Ohtani reminded me of this. So I'm going to do a Shohei Ohtani up.
Wow, it's a likely thing for you to do.
Yeah. His social media is delightfully normal. And I actually think I can't remember where this was, but somebody said something like they were talking about Shohei Ohtani and they were sort of like describing him for a general audience. And they were like the kind of famously stoic. And I was like, he's not anymore. Like, he's just he's just out here being like, he is to an impressive degree, like, it seems like living as if he did not have this amount of like spotlight and fame and attention on him, and as if he wasn't having to be sort of robotic, unemotional person to be as successful at baseball as he is, which is, I think, the initial impression of him was that like, oh my God, this guy only cares about baseball to the exclusion of so much else that you can't even like find a hint of humanity. And I really do think, from talking to people, that the separation from him and Ippei has sort of forced him to interact with the wider world more. And that's like what we are finding is that like, oh no, that was a projection based on how little we knew about him, but that actually he's like fairly normal if you know a little bit more about him. He posted about Billie Jean King the other day, and it was just like a picture of Billie Jean King getting like a Hollywood star or something, and you're like, yay, or something. I don't remember what it was. I took like a screen grab of it. But like, and this isn't even just like he's got a cute dog and I love it. But like he does, like he posts like, I don't know, like when they went to Japan for the series and it was like decoy sitting on the plane or whatever. Like I enjoy that he is putting out content as if it isn't being received as breathlessly as it is. That like that seems like a hard, like I think initially for so long in his career in Major League Baseball, it felt like he is so protected, so guarded in what he puts out. And I don't know how much of this has to do with just him getting more comfortable. Maybe he's speaking English a little bit more. Maybe it is the removal of Ippei, but like it feels like he is now outputting content in a way that is like irrespective of how much input he must be getting in response to that content.
Yeah. I think
Shohei
that like
Ohtani, content creator.
That's right. He
Just
wants
like
to be
us,
just like
for real.
us. He wants to be just like us. I think that authenticity is performed so frequently that we can forget what it actually feels like when you see it.
Yes.
And that every once in a while we're reminded that like something is actually authentic and like breaks through that like weird internet fourth wall.
Here we look. I'm gonna like I just pulled up his Instagram and it's just like there's no content. There's no like.
Yeah, like a I'm sure a social media manager actually is posting most of these things, but there's not like a link back to his
right.
You know,
but it's just like a video. It's just like
his like New Balance page or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Like he actually is engaging with social media the way that like you would if you weren't a famous athlete.
Great one.
That's a really good one. We need more of that. I just opened up my Instagram because I was curious. And I realized I wasn't following him, which
canceled.
Huge oversight on my part.
Maybe MLB needs to post about him more, bro. They haven't gotten you
exactly.
yet.
They're not doing it enough.
Wait, I'm gonna find the Billie Jean King because I sent it to Kreiser. It says Billie Jean King, and then it's just a picture of her sitting. I don't know if
that's
like,
her.
Just happening.
That's so funny.
There's no indication of like, right. There's no link to anything.
Right. They don't have like a hot sauce coming out where they're both like the spokespeople for it. Yeah.
Just like, I just wanted to share this with the world. Oh.
Yeah. All right, Alex. What's your second up?
My second up is that the movie named Ephus is on streaming as of yesterday.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean it's like on video on demand. I think.
VOD.
I think you have to pay like $5 or $6 for it. But it's a really good movie, and I am really looking forward to seeing it again. We spoke with director Carson Lund in these here pages, in these here wave files, And we had a really awesome time talking with him. And honestly,
Probably MP4s for him though, because he didn't record a local file though.
MP3 then. MP4 is video.
No, but Zoom records audio in MP4. No,
What?
M4A. M4A.
Oh, M4A. Okay.
Yeah.
real audiophile hours. Anyway, I'm just stoked to see it again. It's a real like baseball fans baseball movie, you know?
It is.
Have
you seen it, Hannah?
I haven't seen it, and I was about to ask, is it worth like finding a way to not watch it at home, like watch it in a theater, or do you think it would work at home?
I think it's playing at IFC Center still, which is like a pretty easy
Okay.
theater to get to. I would watch it in a theater. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it in a theater yet. I actually streamed it at home both times on a screener link. Not to be like part of the media elite, but yeah, I think it's worth seeing in a theater. It's definitely conceived of for a theatrical experience, I would say. Okay, good one. My second up, it's a new year, and so that means there's a new crop of relievers whose names I get to mutter back to myself while sitting on the couch when I'm watching them pitch in a Major League Baseball game. Just a couple entries for you guys here, just to get wet the palate a little bit. How about Cody Funderburk? That's a good one. I like that one. Porter Hodge. Any Porter Hodge heads out there? Obviously a classic, Hobie Milner, Ryan Barucki, Orion Kirkring. These are guys that have been around the block a couple times in the Bob sitting on his couch saying what a name genre. But there's nothing that can recreate this feeling. There's no other avenue of life where there's just a bevy of mostly anonymous guys getting paid a lot of money to be on your television screen with absurd names like Cody Funderburk. That one's going to stick with me for a really long time. And I just love that. That brings me joy.
There was something that I posted on Blue Sky that caused someone to have a very good reaction. So now I'm filling time while I try to find exactly what it was. But they were talking about a name. Oh, so I posted something about Aaron Nola, and somebody responded to it and said, for too long, I thought he had a last name that was pronounced Aranula, and that commentators were just lazy about never using his first name because it's like the N to the N, like the N to the N. Yeah. And this prompted me to share an embarrassing story of my own, which is that for far too long, I thought his name was Bruce Boach. And that people said Bochi because they were nicknamifying it in the way that people always do.
That's awesome. Yeah, like Breggy,
yeah, exactly.
Casty. You're right. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I have to ask my husband if I can share his embarrassing story. Yes. Hey, go for it. And he said that when he was younger, he would hear the broadcasters go, "No more Garcia Parra," and he thought that it was someone named Garcia Parra, and that they were going like, "No more that guy." No more Garcia Parra.
That's amazing.
God, the English language is so cool.
So rich.
And when you were reading the reliever names, it's like, that is such a baseball experience of like the weird names you hear.
Yeah.
Like my family has this, we still do this bit where we say "so Taguchi" in a bunch of different ways. So like someone will be like, "So Taguchi," and somebody else will be like, "So Taguchi." And I'm like, "So Taguchi." It's just like these baseball names that just get like lodged in your brain, and like particular sort of enunciations of them are so memorable.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. It's the best. Like, I'm not just like rolling into like a fucking Zoom meeting with like a sales guy and his name is Orion Kirkring. Like, that's not happening to me. Sorry. I don't know if it's happening to you all listening at home, but that's not happening to me.
I'm not connecting with that guy on LinkedIn.
Are self-selecting to become professional athletes and oftentimes relief pitchers. So that is my second up. So I believe, Hannah, that brings it
next
to
time you hear "no more Garcia Parra," you're going to be like, "No more Garcia Parra."
No more.
There's no more of him. Can I do like a speed round? Just like all
sure.
the ones we didn't get to?
Notebook dump, sure.
Okay. Oh, I already touched on this.
This will be the first speedy thing we've done tonight.
Yeah. We already touched on this. Francisco Lindor style. I'm enjoying it immensely. I like that Francisco Lindor has, you guys talked to Matthew Robertson, right? About
I sure did. Yeah.
his okay. So we don't have to talk about it, but I'm going to anyway. But like, I enjoy that Francisco Lindor has actual style and not just expensive clothes.
Yep.
The Orioles did a kids' day. I did not partake in this because I'm not in Baltimore, but I'm very good friends with Britt Giroli, who is a incredible baseball reporter and happens to have 2 kids. She just had a new baby, not just, but relatively recently. And she was able to take them. The Orioles, I don't know that any other team does this. So I just want to like commend them, shout it out, encourage more teams to do this. They have like a take your kid to work day for the media.
Cool.
And the pictures were so cute, like little babies in the press conference and like in the press box. And like, it just, yeah, we should not even start on the topic of like, if sports are not accommodating mothers, then they're not really accommodating women. And the fact that there are lots of fathers that do this job is apparently completely unrelated to whether or not it's like doable as a parent.
Oh man,
I have like a whole new perspective on a lot of dads.
That was a really profound thing, which sort of squashed my joke that I was going to make, which is that there's babies in the clubhouse in Baltimore, and it's not even Jackson Holiday.
Well, it is like I do believe Britt maybe made a joke where she was like, it's weird they're like closer in age to my kids than me.
Way closer, dude. So many of these guys are so young.
Yeah. But I said that like a lot, like, yeah. And that's not actually fixing any of the problems around how inhospitable the industry is to mothers, like really inhospitable to mothers in like a very unique and specific way. Should have made that a down. Could have talked about that for a while. But I love that they did that. I love that they at least like acknowledged that people have families. Okay. The possibility of an NL Central Cy Young race between Paul Skeens and Hunter Green. That sounds
really
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then because everyone's always talking about Shohei Ohtani. So one more Shohei Ohtani. The Dodgers home run celebration that they're doing where they like mock the commercial that he did. Do you know this?
No, I haven't seen this.
Me either.
Okay. So there's like a I think it's in Japan, commercial of Shohei Ohtani for like skincare or something. And he like takes the little bottle of skincare and he like discos it in front of his eyes. And so now all the Dodgers are doing this. And it's just such a like often the things that they are doing for their celebrations are inside jokes. And they don't want to tell us about them because they are probably like incredibly crass and not fit for family consumption. And this one is just like the perfect confluence of being a actually specific reference to something that like a guy on the team did. And like, you can totally understand how like a group of people working together would like start to rim one of them for that like sort of awkward commercial he filmed. But it's something that we can all know about and like interface with and even look at the source material. So I enjoy that tremendously.
Okay, we are now joined in this long-running story history that we have, Alex, of bringing on indie rock musicians to talk about baseball and the crossover with our favorite sport. What we really want to be doing is podcasting about music, but we only have a baseball podcast, so we're stuck here. We are now joined by Frankie Impastato of Maxiel. Frankie, hello. Welcome to Tipping Pitches.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So, a little story for the listeners of the podcast. We were at the Maxiel show, the last show of your most recent first headliner tour, which is in New York City. And we took a little, we noted the drum kit, your drum kit with a dog wearing a Mets hat. And then we got a little "Let's Go Mets" chant going at the concert. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, now we have to talk to you guys. Now we have to talk to Frankie from Maxiel.
What's crazy is I didn't even start that chant. I don't get a little mic back by the drums. It just like started happening. And then I was like, come on, let's go. This is what's
just your
up.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it helped having the foil of Carly Cosgrove there, right?
Exactly.
We had to push out that Philly energy,
Totally.
cleanse
Yeah.
the room, so to speak.
Yeah, palate cleanser.
I'm frankly sick of Carly Cosgrove's Philadelphia Phillies being at the center of the universe. So I'm glad we can fight back here.
It's time to get the Maxiel Mets energy to the center of the universe.
That's right. This is the year.
Exactly.
How are you guys? First of all, like, how are you feeling? I mean, like, as Bobby mentioned, I mean, just got off the first official headlining tour, dropped the record early last year. Permanent repeat. It's a banger, front to back.
Thanks. Thank you.
How are you feel? Are you like taking this time to just like kick back, put your feet up, watch?
I wish that I could say that I was, but we do leave again in a week for our first UK European tour. But the tour was cool. It like I said, it was our first like properly booked headline tour. And it was crazy booking it, being like, oh yeah, like the New York show is going to be in like a 600 cap room. Like that's way too big. It's going to feel stupid. And then we get there and there's like 500 something tickets sold. And we're like, oh, people actually care about our band. Like that's crazy and feels weird in so many different ways. But I did get home 2 days before opening day. So that was
just in time.
Nice.
Just in time. Yeah.
Just in time to be in God's country, the greater New York area for Mets opening day.
Exactly.
So, you know, baseball players, when they get called up, often they talk about their kind of like welcome to the league moment. Would you say that you and the rest of Maxiel have had your kind of welcome to the league moment? Was that this headliner tour, or are you still kind of waiting to have that dawn on you all?
Oh, that's such a good question. I do feel like this, I mean, it's weird because we've been a band for so long. Like next year will be 10 years that we have been playing together. So you would think that in those 10 years we would have had that moment at this point. But at our New York headline show, I did get like a little emotional because it was like, you know, like I said, you book a show and you don't think anyone's going to come. And then you're like on stage and there's like nonstop crowd surfers. And you're just like, I hope no one breaks their neck. And like, I'm so happy everyone's having fun. And like, they're just enjoying like us playing. And it's very surreal. So maybe it was my called up to the show moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
What is it like being on that stage, seeing some of the like chaos out in the crowd? Like Bobby and I, we're not really mosh pit aficionados, so to speak, or anything like that. I mean, are you sitting there like seeing people run around like, you know, on stage and being like, guys, be careful, like don't come too close to the drum? Or is it just kind of like everyone's having fun, like let's just, you know, go with it?
Us glasses wearers, we got to be careful in the pit, bro. Like I don't have another pair of glasses. If I lose these, I'm blind for at least a couple weeks.
I'm gonna come back to the question, but I want to talk about the glasses thing really quick.
Yes,
the
please.
first show I ever went to, I've had glasses since the second grade. The first show I ever went to was to see Avenged Sevenfold and Atreyu play at Nassau Coliseum.
Let's go.
And
Legends.
I lost my glasses within like 10 minutes of the show starting. And my dad was so pissed. And I was like, no, I'm feeling the music. Like, come on, you don't get it, Dad. And then I ended up finding them. They ended up like in the hood of my sweatshirt or something. So they were completely fine.
Wow. Serendipity.
And then it was very fortunate. And then there was one show a couple years ago where we let someone play a song with us. They played drums. And I was like, this is my moment. I'm going to go into the Maxiel pit. And then I was so scared of my glasses getting fucked up that I just left.
You got to just leave them with someone else. Like that's the only way. Also, I'm too big to be crowd surfing. I feel weird like jumping into another person, you know? The crowd surfing at the show that we're referring to was some interesting technique, I would say, from the people in the crowd. Not the greatest crowd surfing technique.
No.
Every jump, I was like holding my breath. I was like, oh, man.
People
Okay, they got him.
They were jumping vertically instead of just like, you know.
Right, instead of just letting themselves be caught. Yeah.
Yeah. But that show, within the first song, the crowd surfers unplugged all of our bassist stuff from just like jumping on it and then like jumping off the stage.
Mhm.
And like halfway through the second song, like a stagehand had to run out and like unplug all of his stuff and move it to where the drum riser was, because it just like we would never be able to get through a song. So that was definitely interesting. But also this tour has been interesting. The tour was interesting because there's like like two different audiences. Like one audience was like the younger like emo crowd that just wanted to like mosh and like crowd surf and go off. And then the other audience were like liked Permanent Repeat and just wanted to stand there with their bros, drink a beer, and just like bob along.
Mhm.
So the crowd surfing was an experience, I think, for everyone involved on this tour, because like some kids would end up jumping on like some person that was just like, I just like this one record and I'm just
Right.
here because I like
Right.
these songs that are like kind of mellow. But from my perspective, it's very scary watching people jump off a 10-foot stage and then just face plant into the ground.
Yeah.
How much of that can you even monitor, like from behind the drum kit?
I mean, I'm always looking into the crowd. I'm like the kind of performer that I love like making eye contact with people and like having moments with specific people during specific songs. So I can't look away. But you can't like be a buzzkill and be like, hey, knock it off. Like you gotta let them have fun. So I don't know.
I think that obviously we were, our interest was more than piqued when we heard the Let's Go Mets chant at the show. And then I think kind of the genesis of this is from a tweet about a fantasy league that you are in with at least some members of Rat Boys and maybe others. I don't know. I mean, do you want to tell the people like what's the drop the roster? What's the pickup you're most proud of right now?
Alex finally has someone he can talk about fantasy baseball with because I refuse to play.
Let's go.
And Alex has like 4 random teams. Just for context for you, Frankie, Alex is in like a league with like a bunch of truckers that he doesn't know, just like strangers. And he's been in this league since we were in college.
It's awesome. Some are calling it the Diner of America right now.
Have you ever won in that league?
I have, yes. It's
Nice.
Frankly, it's not as super competitive, probably because they're driving most of the time.
Sure. So the league, I'm in 2 leagues this year. I have a family one that I'm in every year for the past 4 years. That it's my dad, my sister, her husband, couple cousins, and then Justin from Maxiel, our the bass player. He's also in it, he's the only Yankee fan. Everyone else is a Mets fan. So he's a trooper for dealing with that. And then the night before opening day, Julia from Rat Boys texted me and was like, hey, like super last minute, no worries if you're not interested, but we're thinking about doing a fantasy league. If you want to join, like that would be really fun. It seems like something you would be into. And I was like, sure. And like neither of the leagues are like for money. So I'm totally down to just like walk around.
Yeah.
But I believe it's just 2 members of Rat Boys and then a couple other folks that I'm not sure who they are. Like
could be truckers, frankly.
Yeah, they could be.
They could be truckers. Yeah, I think there's like some Mariners fans, which makes me think there's some Washington-based fans, and I think there's another Mets fan in the group, but I'm not too sure. But Julia was like, "Oh yeah, you could join if you want. Like you could have all the Mets, like whatever you want." And then she had 3rd pick, and I had like 6th or something. And then she took Soto, and I was like,
stabbed you right in the back.
Yeah, you lured me here under false pretenses.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, like I'm still gonna do this, but that's shady,
right?
And it's all like fun and games. Like I'm not actually like upset about it. She was like, how was I supposed to like let him go? Like he was still there at the 3rd or 4th pick. Like of course I had to snatch him up. But I ended up with I think I have Vientos on my team.
Tough start, but we bounced.
Hopefully it'll turn into something better.
We move, yeah.
Yeah. And I have, I think, Manaya and Diaz, and I have Alonso too. So he's been getting me a lot of points.
Mhm.
And then in my other league, I always have to have Lindor on my team in my family league because every year that I don't have him, he ends up getting traded to me because we believe that there is a family curse that if he's not on my team, he will not be successful. So this year we forego the trade and we were just like, let's start with Lindor on Frankie's team so that he can get off to a hot start, which seems to be perhaps paying off.
Yeah.
So
That's collective action right there. That's
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Steve Cohen should be paying you on the side a little bit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The first year that we did it, there wasn't like a team, like a winner. We just gave a trophy to the cousin that traded him to me. Because we were like, your integrity in doing this is what made Lindor have a good season.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking one for the team. That's
Exactly.
true fandom. That's true fandom.
Yeah.
Rat Boys, they're Chicago, right? So are they Cubs fans? White Sox
No,
fans?
they're Sox fans. Yeah.
Oof, that's a bad beat. that's a bad beat.
Yeah.
Although objectively, I think cooler to say I'm a White Sox fan, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like,
for sure.
because then people are like, oh, like, how are you? So
You must
seen
really
some
mean
stuff.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
right, exactly. There's no fair weather White Sox fans.
You know what? They've been putting out some good records. They're putting into the music, you know?
Right.
I do think in Chicago there is like a general consensus that being a White Sox fan is way cooler than being a Cubs fan.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Like I know Avery from that band Retirement Party is also like a massive White Sox fan. And I think all those people are cool. And I don't really know any Cubs fans that are cool. So that's my opinion.
But you know, if you've been a Cubs fan for like a really long time, if you've been a Cubs fan pre-World Series, then
That's
you
cool.
have some street cred still. I think.
That's cool.
So we're talking about, you know, split allegiances in cities. Obviously, there's split allegiances in New York between Mets and Yankees. How did you land in the Mets camp? Because many Long Islanders, you're from Long Island, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Valley Stream.
Okay, so I mean, a lot of Long Islanders end up as Yankees fans. How'd you end up in the Mets camp?
Okay, so growing up, I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house, and I thought it was really lame to hang out with my grandma, so instead I would hang out with her 80-year-old neighbor, who was
Much
a
cooler.
diehard, way cooler. And she was a diehard Mets fan and like would put on like VHSs of like games from the 60s and like just taught me everything that she knew. And I was obsessed with her. So I was like, obviously, I'm going to be a Mets fan. And my dad was like a leading Mets fan, but he's just like a New York sports guy. Like he wants every New York team to be successful. And I think he caught on to me being really into the Mets. And it was just also a way more pleasant experience to bring your kids to Shea Stadium than bringing them to the Bronx. So he would like bring me and my sisters to games a lot growing up. But I just like something about it. Just I turned into a sick fuck at a very young age about the Mets. I mean, it must have been the neighbor. I had a cousin growing up too that I was like obsessed with her, and she was a big Mets fan too. And I was just like, well, these cool people like the Mets. So if I want to be cool, obviously I need to like the Mets also.
What was the first Mets team that you were like, this is dictating way too much of how my actual life is playing out?
Oh man. I was at the 2006 last little playoff game there.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I was 11. Actually, I was 10 because it wasn't my birthday yet. I remember getting into probably my first depression ever after that. Pretty bummed because it was I don't really have a lot of memories of the 2000 World Series.
Yeah, me either.
But there's a lot of funny VHS tapes of me like going around to like family members and being like, who do you think's going to win the World Series? And then if they say the Yankees, I just say like the most insane thing a 5-year-old can say. But yeah, I think 2006 was the first time that I like understood the playoffs and how like each round would go, and just being like, and then the fucking Andy Chavez catch, like everyone being like, this is the moment. It's going to happen. And then
it was supposed to be.
Seeing it. Oh, yeah.
And then the Cardinals and their fucking devil magic that came back to get us.
You know that fucking picture of them winning and Trump is just like in the background, like blaring?
Sure do. Yep.
I'm like, fuck. Terrible. Cursed.
We have
image,
Adam
cursed
Wainwright to thank for everything that has happened since 2006.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Adam Wainwright.
It's his fault. Yeah.
He did it.
Yeah.
So we've explored this question on this podcast before, right? We have talked to Steve from PUP, Christine and Andy from Pool Kids. What is it about emo / indie, the kind of greater emo world, and baseball that you think like it's because it feels like those worlds are almost like a perfect circle, you know? Like, is it that learning about the pain through baseball like encourages you to like learn how to put this down into song or something like that? Like, is one downstream from the other? What's your read on it?
Okay. I think my take on it is that the baseball season is so long. I don't know a lot about other sports, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is a baseball season the longest season pretty much in all of sports?
Yeah.
Hockey's kind of around there.
It's like baseball season's like twice as many games. Hockey season is like the length. Same with NBA is like the length of the season is all like 6 months plus, but baseball is the most games. They just
so
yeah.
I think that being said, like being in an emo band, the only way that you're ever going to make money is going on tour. And being in like on a baseball team, you're gone from home for a long time. You're like away from your family. And I think because of that, perhaps emo musicians can see themselves in these athletes.
Okay.
Am I not one and the same with Peter, Morgan, Alonso? I look in the mirror and I see a freaking polar bear too.
I can't deny it. Like, I can't.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think too, like for me personally, like being in an emo band, being on tour, kind of no matter what season I'm on tour, there will be baseball going on in some capacity.
Yeah.
So it's like you're able to find a consistency in like a lifestyle that is so inconsistent. So I think like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just that we're all the same.
Yeah.
Emo musicians, baseball players, same people.
Steve said a very similar thing, which was that it's just something that's easy for everybody in the band to agree on. Like you throw on a basketball game or you throw on a baseball game, or we have an off day between shows in whatever city and we are just going to go to a baseball game because it's the easiest place to just go and get a couple beers and hang out and be outside. Totally. You know, like we're not on the bus right now. We're not inside at a venue. We can actually be outside and enjoy things. So I definitely hear that. I also think that like your point about being able to just like mark time via the baseball season is probably even more important when you're like, what state are we in? You know, like where are we playing tomorrow? Where did we play yesterday? And then Steve also was like, yeah, I mean, baseball games, not so much anymore, but they used to be really long. So we used to be able to watch the first 4 or 5 innings, go play our set, come back and watch the 9th, you know?
Right. Yeah.
How do you keep up with the baseball season when you're touring? Like, what's your methodology?
I mean, this season I haven't quite figured it out yet because SNY merged with the MLB app, and I don't know if I'm dumb, but I still haven't figured out how to get it to work on my phone. Like every time I try and put it on, I have to log in on a computer for it to go on my phone, which I don't typically bring a computer on tour.
Yeah.
So I haven't figured it out this year. But typically I will watch every game still, no matter where I am. Like, I have a little percussion table that I bring with me specifically so that I could prop my phone up and watch games if
Like
need be.
During the set?
During the set. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow. What if something crazy happens?
It distracts me more to be wondering what's going on than to just glance over every couple seconds.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Have you ever fucked up because of something that happened in the Mets? I mean, I'm like, you're Italian, I'm Italian, I'm exclamatory. Like, when something happens, I'm like, what the fuck? I throw
Bobby
things.
watches when we record, and we know when something happens.
In fact, if the game was going on right now, I would be interrupting you guys if something exciting happened. This is just, I can only be me.
There was one game, it must have been 2 years ago, that it was a game that Scherzer got like really deep into a game with a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, obviously I need to like, I can't stop watching, because then what if that curses it? Like, I can't, like, I gotta keep it going. And then I remember like him giving up a hit and me just looking at Justin, who was the only one in the band that knew what was going on. And I'm playing and I'm just like, and afterwards he was like, damn, I'm sorry. But I don't know. I like I said, I think I would be more distracted just not knowing what's going on. I'd be like fumbling on my phone trying to like get the texts and stuff.
Yeah, or like calling out to the crowd being like, anyone got scores?
Yeah. Yeah.
In your book, like, who is, outside of like Maxiel and I guess the folks you've already had on, is there like a sort of, in the sphere of the kind of emo indie world, is there like a band or a person that you're like, whoa, those guys, their fandom is like not to be fucked with? Like, basically what I'm asking is like, who are we gonna have on next? Like, is it gonna be Jade? It might just be Jade,
Sure.
And that's fine. But like, is there anyone where you're like, oh wow, that's like real, that's deep?
I mean, like, I hate to say it, but Helen from Carly Cosgrove, she knows her shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about having a Phillies fan on the pod.
Yeah, that'd be a real like gang truce moment, like the power of music unites us to be able to say we can talk to you here on Tipping Pitches.
It took me several days on the tour to be able to be like, okay, I fuck with this person, and I will look past the Phillies fandom because of it. I will say, Helen is currently seeing someone who is a Mets fan.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So that was a little bit of a bonding moment, because I was like, actually, you can't be mean about the Mets right now, because that would be fucked up.
Right.
But yeah, I would unfortunately, I would probably say Helen.
Damn.
You grudgingly hand it to her. That's fair. That's
even though she hates, I know that like kind of everyone other than Mets fans hate Alonso, but she has like a personal vendetta against him. And I'm like, how can you hate him? He's just a doofy little first baseman.
Are you aware of the Pete Alonso Pool Kids connection?
I am, yes. Which I was made aware of because of this podcast.
Okay.
They never told that to me.
It's an absolutely insane crossover. Like, just one of those things where it's like, all right, the internet has definitely like ruined human society, but sometimes it does provide us moments like this where it's just like Pool Kids tweeting the weird headshot with that like bizarre background of Pete Alonso telling the story about how they went to elementary school and high school together. An incredible moment.
He was just a shy little boy.
We've been led to believe by our friend Lindsay Adler, who used to cover baseball for The Athletic, that she told Pete to check out Pool Kids, and he was like, "They're good. I like it. It reminds me of Paramore." That was Pete's note.
That's awesome. For like a jock, it's not an inaccurate comparison.
Exactly. Yeah, there's got to be more baseball sickos out there. I mean, that's how we even got Steve on the pod in the first place, is that he participated in whatever magazine does that like yearly roundup before the season starts every year. Alex.
Spin, maybe.
Yeah, I think Spin does it where they talk to every musician who's a baseball fan and they ask for predictions and stuff. And Steve was like,
Nice.
we should kill the corporate owners of the Blue Jays. And I was like, that guy has to be on the podcast now. We have to make that happen now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. How are your feelings about Steve Cohen?
Hey, I don't like billionaires, but I like my billionaire.
Exactly.
Good
answer.
Yeah. I think he needs to delete his Twitter before he gets in trouble.
Good take.
But
he's got a poster's heart though.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
He does like to post.
He's good at it is the unfortunate thing. Yeah.
And he's funny.
I know. I
Like,
hate to admit it. He is really funny.
Did y'all see him responding to someone about like tweeting for the like a roof, and he was like, "Are you gonna help me build it?" So good.
When you say we, do you mean both of us?
Just
Right.
me.
Yeah.
It was a fan being like, we got to do something. Oh no, it was a fan who was at spring training in St. Lucie saying that we got to do something about this parking lot here. I guess the parking situation
that's
is
what
not
it
very
was.
good. And he says, when you say we, you and me or just me?
Iconic.
So funny. He kind of posts
He's
like
a
drill.
legend.
He like posts like drill a little bit. I don't understand where that comes from.
Yeah, the sort of like off-kilter grammar and punctuation.
Yeah, random commas.
Mm-hmm. Dude, boomers love commas.
I know.
And like a million periods.
I know. I don't know what is up with that. My cousin, who is a huge Mets fan, and who every year my family does like a tailgate where they get everyone out, and there's like 150 people there, and it's like a 6-hour long thing. And my cousin is just like on the grill from 8 a.m. until the time the game starts. Every time he texts me about the Mets, it's always like 5 commas. It's always be like, Did you see news about Manaya's shoulder, comma, 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 comma? Not great, comma, comma. But Pete is off to a good start. You know, it's like, why do just say normal things?
They need the drama.
I know.
They do.
I know. It's like Faulkner, you know, it's like how Faulkner wrote. It's like that's how they text about the Mets.
I feel like there is a common trend among musicians to incorporate references to baseball, or specifically the Mets, into songs, right? You have the Strokes. There's a Bell and Sebastian song. I think even in one of the latest Bright Eyes songs, there's a Mets reference.
Totally out of nowhere.
Totally out of nowhere.
Would not have predicted he would know who the Mets are at all.
My first question is, what is it about the Mets that that you think provides such fodder? And second of all, can we expect a Mets reference on the next Maxiel record, song, whatever it is? Look, I'm not. There's no pressure or anything, but I'm planting the seed right now.
Okay, I'll answer the first question.
Okay.
I think that the Mets and Heartbreak are one and the same, and because of that, artists again see themselves in the Mets. So, you know, maybe what's the fucking Bright Eyes guy's name?
Connor Oberst.
Maybe Connor Oberst is looking.
Both of us answered that a little too fast, bro. That's a little too fast.
Connor Oberst is looking in the mirror, and maybe he saw Pete Alonso and was like, I'm gonna write about the Mets right now.
Yep.
You never know. And to answer your second question, there actually is unknowingly already a Mets reference in a Maxiel song.
Oh.
And you can't hear it, but it's there.
Okay.
Because in one of our songs, the beginning of, it's called Irving on Super Enthusiast, there's this weird feedbacky sound. And it's actually the call of I believe it's the Buckner play. The ball going through his legs, slowed down.
Wow.
And that's what that clip actually is.
Shit.
That's amazing lore.
Easter egg.
That's incredible.
Damn.
Big Easter egg. Yeah.
You're going like Marvel Cinematic Universe on us.
Right.
We were trying to figure out what to do, and I was like, okay, guys, how crazy would this be? Because the song is about Boston. And I was like, how fucked up would it be in the song about Boston? We throw in
That's
the call.
diabolical. Holy shit.
I'm like big brain evil in that way, and then also in the way that I made Carly Cosgrove play a drum set with a Mets hat on the
Right. Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Well,
But
psychological
lyrically-
warfare never hurt anyone.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
all
no,
in good
no.
fun, you know.
Exactly. We're all having fun.
If they're gonna start a EAGLES Eagles chant at every single show, then it's only fair.
It's only fair.
If you can dish it out, you got to be able to take it. You know, I grew up in
Exactly.
Philly. I know how this works.
I do. They were good sports about it. They never started any like Mets suck chants or anything. I did pull a funny little prank on them though.
Okay.
And this is by prank, it's like the most stupidly harmless prank of all time. But I was also tour managing that tour. And there's a fun little app that you get to share with everyone on tour where you can have like the load in times and just every information that you could possibly need, which usually includes Wi-Fi, network, password. And there was one venue that didn't get back to me by the time I was putting all this information into the app. So I made the network Phillies suck password, or it was Mets rule password Phillies drool. So
Nice.
You know, fun little prank.
Got him.
Absolutely owned.
Got their ass owned. Yeah. good
That's
stuff.
awesome. It's the little things, you know? That's
It's little things. Lyrically, for Mets reference lyrics, I don't write the lyrics, so it would be hard for me to convince Cole and Ryan, who were the only two guys in the band that don't care about baseball, to sneak something in there.
Right. You're gonna have to pull some sort of Inception style maneuver.
Exactly.
Here, if you
But
wanna
there have been moments where I've been like, I could write a song. Like maybe I can do this. I can try this out. So maybe if there's ever a Frankie solo album, it'll be like solely Mets reference, like metaphors and stuff.
Mets concept album.
Wow.
Hey, now we're cooking.
That's maybe the most depressing album of all time. Oh my God.
Not now, baby. It's
It's
all
gonna
looking
be
forward.
like-
It's all about the
That's
New
true.
York Mets.
8th wave emo, whatever fucking wave we're on. It's just
Right,
gonna be
exactly.
so-
What wave are we
so
on
depressing.
now, guys? Like, what? Can we all just decide where? Maybe we should just press the reset button and we have the first wave again. I don't really know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's really funny. 8th wave emo is just different NL East fans, making emo albums about their NL East fandom experience. We got Faye Webster over here writing Brave songs.
Yeah.
We got Carly Cosgrove writing Philly songs. I don't know. Is there any Nationals fans who are musicians? I feel
Are
like the
there
only
any
Nationals
fans?
well, like many senators, United States senators are Nationals fans.
Sure.
But yeah.
One of my cousins actually in the fantasy league, I said everyone is Mets fans, but one of them is a Nationals fan and only drafted national players. And he
Not looking
did
good.
beat me in the first week.
Oh no.
Oh man.
No.
Oh no. Oh no.
Brutal.
Tough scene.
But I guess there's one
Nationals held their
fan.
own against the Dodgers in this little series. Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's April. They're
Give
not
it up
out of
to
it
the
yet.
Nationals.
Yeah. hang the banner. Held your own against the Dodgers in April.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, Alex, for your A's, we're going to have to hang the banner of outscored by an average of 10 runs at Sutter
Jesus
Health
Christ.
Park.
I
their
don't
new
know
home
I
stadium.
don't want to talk about it.
Brutal.
What comes next for Maxiel? You guys are going back on tour, right? In the UK?
Yes, so we're going to the UK and to Europe, which is our first time as a band over in that neck of the woods. Which is pretty exciting. There's I think there's a couple shows that have sold out already, which is also crazy to think about. We went to Japan in August and we got to actually go to a game at the Tokyo Dome, which was awesome.
Nice.
Bucket list
Dream come
item
true.
for me. Yeah.
It was
bucket list.
incredible. They had like people walking around with kegs in backpacks, like through the stands, and we're just like giving people drafts, like
God,
just
Oh my God.
We live in
Right
such an
to your
inferior
seat.
society, bro. Like we are so like everywhere else is doing it so much better than us.
100%. That tour was crazy because it was like to be kind of as far away from home as you could possibly be, and there's like people who are coming to every show that you're playing there, is wild. So my expectations for Europe, I feel like, are maybe potentially skewed because of that, because I'm like, surely it'll be as epic as that.
Yeah.
But we're not going to any baseball games, so can't be that good.
That's true.
Yeah, but we got that coming up, and then we're playing Pug Fest in Detroit at the end of June, and the Tigers are playing a game the next day, home game, so we're gonna hit that.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Have you checked off a ton of stadiums then because of that? Like while you have been touring? Yeah.
There's
just major league stadiums or minor league stadiums too?
Both.
Yeah.
There was a tour last summer that we did that Justin and I hit, I think 5 stadiums on the tour. It was pretty sick, and we were the support band, so we would play and then just like get in an Uber and go to the stadium and see like the last like 5 innings of a game.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm at 17 stadiums that I've been to.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Yes, which is cool. And I have a trip planned to Denver to see the Mets in June this year. So that's just a little vacation me and my little wife are going on.
Awesome.
So
stadium.
I'm hyped on that.
You're gonna
Have you been?
Awesome stadium. Yeah, I've only been to one game there, but I was there on 4th of July, which is crazy for so many reasons to be at a baseball game on 4th of July. But it was when I was moving to LA for a job, and we stopped there on one of the nights. And it's just incredible. Like to see a summer ball game in Denver is just like, you see why they sell out, even though the team is owned by like one of the all-time worst owners and just is never good. You know, you can understand why they still sell out.
Mm-hmm. We were debating between because my wife Mia and I went to see the Mets in Philly last summer because her college roommate is a huge Phillies fan, and we were like, let's go just see the Mets. We'll hang out with them. And Mia had such a good time that when we left, she was like, we should like make it a point every summer if we can, like if we don't have anything going on, like go see the Mets play somewhere else. And we were debating between Denver and San Francisco for a while because they're both on weekends this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've never been to what is it? It's not called Giant Stadium. What is it called?
I think it's Oracle.
Oracle, no, Oracle Park.
Wait,
no, I think it is Oracle. Yeah,
is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. That's like top 3 bucket list stadiums for me, probably.
Another banger.
It is a gorgeous stadium.
Fuck, I gotta go.
Really got to hand it to the Giants in this just this
under
one
no
way.
circumstances.
Do we have to tip our cap to Charles Johnson? But except it's one very narrow thing. Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately the Denver trip just made more sense. But maybe next summer we'll do little Oracle Park. But yeah, I'm hyped on that. Should be fun.
That's a really awesome tradition to have, I think, because it's just like, I don't know, you can kind of hold yourself accountable to it too, and be like, it's just one trip, right? And it's something new for both of you. I think adding the new, especially if it's a city you haven't spent a ton of time in or anything like that, like that's awesome, and I might steal that.
And the fact that it wasn't even my idea.
Yeah,
it was. So
that feels even better, right? Like
exactly, yeah. My wife grew up in Western Mass and was like kind of a Red Sox fan, but like only really cared about it like in her childhood, and was obsessed with Johnny Damon. And then when he got traded, she was like, this is over. Like, no more baseball for me. And then
one issue Red Sox fan, and that issue is Johnny Damon. Incredible.
And then when we started dating, obviously I was like, it was exactly like Fever Pitch. I was like, this is a part of me. Right. I can't
have to
change
come out
myself.
and I have to come clean about this with you. Yes. Right.
Dude, do you want to know how insane I am? We were dating for less than 2 weeks. And my dad texted me and was like, hey, I have 20 tickets to a Mets game. you're taking one of them, and then after that, we have one left over. Do you have anyone that you want to bring? And I was like, well, I can't bring this girl that I've only been dating for a week and a half.
This is how I feel about the Mets tailgate. I was like, you have to know me for at least 5 years before you get invited to it, because it's insane.
Unfortunately, I'm not even that sensible, though, because I was like, let me at least ask her if she would want to go. Like, no pressure. But the game was my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, my sister, her husband, my cousin, who's also pretty much my sister, her best friend. Like, an insane amount of people to be like, hey, person that I know from Tinder, do you want to come meet my aunt and my uncle?
By the way, we're all following every single pitch with bated breath, like it's a life or death situation, too. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You're about to learn a lot about me and my family in the next 2.5 hours.
Sounds like it was the right call because you're married now.
And we're married.
Yeah.
So it worked out. But it was just so funny because I asked and I was like, I know that this is an insane thing. Please don't see it as a red flag. In fact, it's a green flag because I'm so normal that I think you should meet my family. And she was like so down. And I think like I was already in New York and she even like took a train down to like come to the game. And it was kind of best case scenario too, because like it was like one strip of like 20 seats. So my parents were at like one way end and she was and we were at like the other end. So it was like, hey, here's my mom, but you're going to be like 40 feet away from her for like the next 2.5 hours. So
right. Sort of
you're safe.
Controlled environment, so to speak.
Yeah. But she's now a huge Mets fan, specifically wives of Mets players fan.
I mean, this is a very rich text at the moment.
Yes.
Both here on this podcast, but also in general, Mets fandom is Katia Lindor's powerful influence on society and the New York Mets organization. Yes.
I mean, this is such a stupid thing to talk about. But the other day when the Dodgers went to the White House, I was like, do I not want the Mets to win a World Series because I don't want them to go to the White House? But then I was like, at a minimum, Katia will get involved and influence them to like do something that will generate good.
That's a great take.
Around that topic. So I believe that we are in good hands if the Mets were to win a World Series. So the manifest jar is back in action.
I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and the first thought I have is I might die before the Mets win the World Series. So I'll take it during any administration. I don't care what the context is. We got to get one. And then we can start talking about like political preferences for when the Mets win the World Series.
I am unfortunately like you and think that so frequently.
Like
and I'm also
time.
like so mentally unwell that like sometimes I'll be leaving a Mets game, like walking down the like millions of stairs and be like, what if this is the last time I'm at a Mets game? Like
that's so sad.
Like why?
No reason.
For absolutely no reason. Like the thought will just come into my head and like everyone around me is screaming like, let's go Mets. And then I'm just there like, I don't know, I could die tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. I could, this subway could derail on the way home because Eric Adams is out here talking about his shorty down in Bay Ridge or whatever instead of actually fixing the trains. Yeah. I had that thought when we went to a lot of the playoff games last year because we have this podcast now, and so we can treat it like a business expense and look if we make content around it. And so we went to as many games as we could, and we did playoff diaries, et cetera, and it was a lot of fun. And I just had that thought, like, man, I really need to be like present. I need to be taking this like, like these wellness people online, like be present. That was me. I was like, I gotta be present. I gotta remember every single thing about this feeling. Like so, I relate definitely.
I joined a gym so I could live long enough for the Mets to win a World Series.
That's incredible. Incredible. Frankie, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for all of the time and for relaying your personal fears about the New York Mets to us and everybody listening here. Where what should people should check out Maxiel? What's the best way to support you guys?
We love Spotify streams. I get to buy my dog pajamas because of our Spotify stream, so definitely check us out there. We're active on Instagram. We don't use Twitter because it's a scary place. But we're on it. So you can follow us there. I think that's it. We don't even have a freaking website because what do you need that for when you got Instagram?
So true.
So true.
Love it.
Thank you so much for doing this. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been so fun. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks to Hannah. Thanks to Frankie. Thanks so much to both of them. Wonderful conversations. I'm not thanking you this week, bro. You want to be thanked? Oh, now you just want me to show appreciation for you? Just kidding.
About
Thanks,
face
Alex.
from the intro of this podcast where we said we need more like male support, more love, you know?
I'm just joshing you, bro.
Oh, you're
Thank
joshing.
you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a wonderful co-host. Thank you for being an entrepreneur with me.
Always.
Right, I can't be an entrepreneur alone.
No.
Entrepreneurial spirit is what drives male friendship.
Right. If you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go
that's
even farther, bring someone else along.
All right, I got one. I got one. There's 2 sets of footsteps in the sand. And then it turns to 1 or something, and then we have
that's a religion one, right?
Now we have a podcast.
That's like because Jesus was in the sand with me,
right? And then where you couldn't go any longer, there becomes only 1 set of footsteps because he carries you, right?
Yeah, which is really sweet. Frankly, didn't have to do that.
Jesus been in the weight room, bro. What those macros looking like, Jesus?
Frankly, needs more line of protection, if we're being honest.
Yeah, true. I reject the notion that Jesus was like a scrawny, lanky guy. We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, why are we trying to say like Jesus looks like Mikal Bridges? You know, what if he was built like Daniel House? What if he was built like Cal Raleigh?
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, that would be more representative of what, like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
This is really good. We managed to rope religion into this, though, and it's been a couple episodes since you've done that. So
yeah, that's true.
So thank you to you. Thank you to God.
Thanks to Hannah and thanks to Frankie. Patreon.com/tippingpitches. 785-422-5881. Tippingpitchespod@gmail.com. Links in the description for a bunch of different shit. A fundraiser for You Can Play, which is now up over $6,000. Thank you, everybody who has donated. It really means a lot. The Tipping Pitches Kansas City meetup form. We'll be meeting up at a Kansas City Royals game on September 6th. That's a Saturday. They're hosting the Minnesota Twins. We're going to be at that game. There's going to be a bunch of tickets. If you RSVP'd for a ticket, I'm going to buy you a ticket. If you didn't, you're not going to have one. Unless you might. But you probably won't. But you could. Please RSVP. And then the Brooklyn Cyclones meetup, which I should have done before the Kansas City one because it's happening before the Kansas City one, but I'm very tired. That's on Friday, June 13th. There's a link in the description where you can just purchase that ticket yourself. Just go ahead and show some autonomy. Buy that ticket yourself. $26.
Yeah, we believe in you guys.
I believe in you to type in your name and your credit card information on a checkout online. $26. It gets you a ticket on the field level at the Brooklyn Cyclones, a hat, and 2 drinks of your choice. Those can be soft drinks. Those can be
hard drinks,
beers, or hard seltzers, but not beers and coffee mugs. Alex, thank you for this marathon recording. I had fun. We'll talk to everybody next week.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping Pitches.
Tipping Pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping Pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!